Hi everyone, Lori Marie here, mixed media artist in Vallejo, California. Although today I'm coming to you from Benicia, California. I'm hanging out at Famage today, getting ready to teach a class. But I thought I'd make a quick video today. I am making mailable art envelopes out of brown paper bags. It's very, very fun. So what you'll need is a brown paper bag and some scissors, some ephemera, some focal points, some cotton balls, some chalk pastels, some Mod Podge, baby wipes. That could be all. We'll go through it together. Enough from me. See you on the table. All right, the first thing that we're going to do is prepare our brown bag for making the envelopes. We're going to take this bottom off. Basically what I do is I just cut this off and then go in here and here and then take that bottom off. You'll take the handles off, and then if you look at your brown paper bag, it usually has a seam here. So I just cut the seam out, and then you have a workable surface. So without making too much noise, I'm going to go ahead and get this ready. I'll be right back. Okay, let's go through that together. I removed the handles off here. I cut the bottom off. This you'll want to save because we're going to use the scraps from this to push the gesso around. And then I just cut the seam, so this leaves you with quite a large piece of brown paper bag. It's so big actually that I can't fit it on the screen. So I'm going to fold that in half like that and cut this down to size so that it'll be more workable. I'm going to show you what we're doing. That might be of interest to you. These are a couple of the mailable envelopes that I've made. They're very fun. It's with the gesso background. The color you see is the chalk pastel, and of course the stabilo around the edge. Okay. You'll put double-edged tape here so that you can seal it and mail it. You'll take it to the post office and have it, because these are kind of large, they may cost more in the mail. We're going to put paper on the inside of the envelope. Here's this one, very fun. This has that kind of paper inside. Very fun. I'd like to get those in the mail. Double edge tape there, close that. Address, return address. On this one it would be address, return address. All right, so let's get to it. I'm going to cut that bag in half so it's a little bit more workable so you can see what's going on. See you in a minute. All right, so now I'm working with half of the bag. I cut it in half. I've got enough to make at least one more, I think. Maybe just one more. This is the template that I'm using. I'll hold that a little bit closer. It actually has the measurements on it. But what I would love to do is I would love to send you a template. So if you want to leave me a message with your address, I will pop a template in the mail for you. All right, so what you're going to do is just trace this, just like you would a sewing pattern. Put that on the fold, place on fold, and just trace it. Actually, I love working with brown paper bags. I like the feel of them. Rob works at Trader Joe's, so it's easy to get the bags from him, if I remember to ask. All right, and I'm going to take the scissors and I'm just going to cut that out, and I'll show you what we come up with. All right, let's run through the supplies real quick that you're going to need for the next step. You're going to need a brush, Mod Podge. You're going to need something for the liner of the envelope. In this one I used one of our deli sheets. And this one I used a piece of scrapbooking paper. And then the one that we're going to create today, I'm going to use one of our Citrusolve pages. All right, if you haven't made the Citrusolve pages, you really need to. They're so much fun. So this is a National Geographic and Citrusolve. I do have a video on that. Then you'll need some ephemera, some bits and pieces of fun paper that you're going to create the underpants with, okay? And then something that you can use for focal points. Just some suggestions that you might have. Set those aside. I always carry a little packet with me. As I see things, I tear them out or cut them out of magazines, and I just put them in here so that I can grab my focal points or go through focal points and find something fun at the drop of a hat. This is where I keep my ephemera, so that I can always have that with me as well. This is just bits and pieces of paper. These are the things that I carry with me in case I have a chance to create something fun, just in my little bag there. So I always have those with me. We're going to be creating on this side of the brown paper bag to make our envelope. But first we're going to add the lining. Okay? So I have put Mod Podge in a white glue squeeze bottle, which is very fun to work with. Fold your bottom piece up. Let me get that out of the way so you can see this. Fold your bottom piece up right where that dip comes in. And you'll do the same thing on the other side. Where this dip comes in, you're creating the flaps for your envelope, okay? And then you can see how your envelope is starting to take shape. Right, so we're going to put the lining on the short end of the envelope, and it needs to come to at least the top of this flap, so that when you open the envelope, all you see is the decoration on the inside. So we'll glue that down so that that comes past that flap. All right, I'm just going to, if I can find my pen, I'm just going to make a little mark there so that I know where to stop gluing that. All right, now my squeeze bottle of Mod Podge. There's my line there. Then I'm just going to smoosh that around and then lay my paper down. This would be the smooshing part. Then I'm going to take my Citrusolve page. Very fun. And lay it down. Doesn't matter if it doesn't cover these side flaps, because these are going to be turned in and glued. There we go. And of course it's going to overlap on this side. And after this dries, you'll just cut that out, okay? Just cut out along that brown paper bag area, and then you will have the liner to your envelope. So what we're going to do next is on this side, we're just going to leave it open, and we're going to start laying down our ephemera, or the underpants. Just use some Mod Podge. And start filling in the blanks with some fun paper. Just like that. You can put down as much or as little as you'd like. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull away from the camera and lay down my ephemera, and I will bring you back to show you how much I have covered. Purely a suggestion. So this is the amount of ephemera that I put on the envelope. This is a piece of sewing pattern with a rubber stamp on it with stays on. This is a coffee filter right here with a stamp on it with stays on. The rest is just pieces of paper, an old check, music paper, numbers, a little tag that I had that I ripped in half. And then if we turn it over, then you can see the insert. This will be the inside of the envelope. So this would come up like this, and this is down like this. This is where your double-edged tape goes, right there, so that it's mailable. These, of course, will be folded in and glued with this a little bit later on, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in its shape so that I know where I want to put the focal points. And then I'm just going to play with my little stack of focal points here to decide what I want to put on it. There's some fun things in here. Somebody gave me a wine book. Not that I drink wine, because I don't, but it has some fun images in it. So I'm just going to play with these, kind of place them around and decide where they're going to go. I'll glue them down, and then we will join each other for the next step. A quick little addendum there. I did put the flaps in. I folded the flaps in along those lines there. It's pretty obvious where to fold it. But then I'm going to put it together like that so I can see exactly where my focal points are going to be. All right, so I got my focal points put on. This is a woman with a bottle of wine. Then there's 3 old bottles of wine here, and then just a tape measure here. So those would be my focal points for this particular envelope. I have a neighbor here, interior decorator, and you can probably hear her. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take some gesso and I am just going to smush this around with my brush. Now my focal points and my ephemera are not really dry, but that's okay. I'm going to try not to wiggle the table here. So I'm just going to continue around the focal points. With my gesso, trying not to wiggle the table too much. So you want some there, so because you're going to lay something down here on here to create the texture for the chalk pastels to pick up. But you don't want so much that your underpants don't show at all. I don't mind it going over the edges, blend in the focal points a little bit. And you can go on the flaps this time. That's fine. They're going to be glued down soon. Oh, I bet I'm wiggling the table. Trying really hard not to do that. I'm just on a flimsy table. Oh my goodness, we're talking about stylists over there. Hope they don't mention any names. There we go. So you want it a fair amount. Okay. And now I'm going to take that brown paper bag bottom. Remember the bag, the bottom we had? And I'm just going to put it down on there. And I'm going to lift it up. And then it creates some texture. Beautiful texture, actually. So just use the bottom of that brown paper bag, smush it down, fold that in half, use the areas that I haven't. Be careful not to put, if I were to use the other side again, I would take the chance of getting gesso on my focal points maybe more than I want. Lovely texture. Do we want to go back in any place and add more texture? Maybe right in there. Can you see the texture on the gesso? It's beautiful. Now on these wine bottles, they are covered a little bit more than I want them to be, so I'm going to grab a baby wipe and just kind of pull those necks back in. I don't care if there's some gesso on there, just maybe not that much. And I got a little bit on her face, it looks like. A little bit. There we go. Maybe the wine bottle, bring that back forward a little bit. There. Believe it or not, that looks great. I'm going to dry this, and then we will come back and play with the chalk pastels. So you can kind of see what's going on as far as the texture. The chalk pastel is going to pick all that up. So that is going to be fun. We're all dry. I have to tell you, I'm pretty happy with this. It's fun and playful. So I did trim the edge of the Citrusol paper to make the inside of the envelope. What we're going to do now is we're going to glue the flaps to actually create the envelope. So you'll bring those two side flaps in. You'll bring up the large flap from the bottom up, and then you'll put some glue along those sides so that that sticks. And we have an envelope in the making. Very fun. So what we will use next are the chalk pastels and a cotton ball. So I have these chalk pastels. They've been in my studio forever. Not sure where I got them. Not sure what kind they are. Anything like that. These are the colors I played with last time. I am going to grab this blue, kind of a periwinkle actually, and the cotton ball, and I'm just going to rub on that chalk pastel, and I'm going to go around, add some color. You can add as much color as you'd like, of course. And you can add as many colors as you like. I am going to use this blue, obviously. And then, I'll leave that out because I will be using that again. Oh, let's see, I love the coral. Are we going to go with the coral? I believe we are. In your absence, I will do the entire thing, but I'm just kind of showing you on this midsection as to what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to add some of that coral color where that's needed. Or I perceive where it's needed. You can see that chalk or the gesso picking up the textures. It's very fun. And then I'm going to add some more in your absence. But I'm going to grab the gold, the gold, the gold. And I'm going to add some gold in there. So just keep going and adding until you feel like it speaks to you. Oh, this is fun. Can you see your underpants underneath? The texture, I'll bring this up. It'll show more texture as I add more color, but you can see the texture there. And hopefully I'm not wiggling the table too much. I'll go a little slower. All right, I'm gonna shut off the camera, finish the chalk pastels, and I'm gonna add some Stabilo, of course, and I will leave a final edge to show you how I do that. See you in a minute. So these are the three colors I ended up using, the coral, the blue, and the gold, on the cotton ball, going over the gesso with that, picking up the texture, very fun. That's with the liner of the envelope. Went in with the colors. Looks like I could use a little color on that flap there. There we go. And then what I've done is gone in with the Stabilo around the edges. I've left a little bit to do in front of you in case you haven't played with the Stabilo yet. It's so fun. It just makes a smoky kind of a edge. And I went around the focal points with that. Trying not to move the table. I just moisten my finger and give it a smudge. You can use your little water container. Just dip your finger in it. Just make sure there's not too much moisture on your finger. This is very water soluble. Beautiful. I'd love to get this in the mail. So remember, I will, in the notes, I will have links to anything I may have used here. The Stabilo, the gesso, the chalk pastels. You'd have to visit my Citrusolve video to make the Citrusolve page. Isn't that fun? That's fun. Very fun. So you would address it here, and then the return address would be here. You would probably have to take it to the post office because it is oversized. But whoever gets this is just going to be tickled to death. I would be anyway. So if you would like a template, leave me your address in the notes in a message, and I will send a template to you. I would love to do that. So there it is, Mailable Art. Go create. Go have fun. Go play. Subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you soon. Don't know what we're going to make next, but it'll be fun. Thanks for playing.